So here's my one last bonus surprise that I had promised, and I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas. I'm going to tell you a story about how a cranky FedEx courier learned to love Christmas. Once upon a time, many lifetimes ago, in a land far away, there was a magical priestess born into a farmer family. She was magical in the way she could feel how others, even inanimate objects, felt. She could see the trees dancing and hear them singing as the wind blew their branches. She could hear her bed crying, missing her when she slept with her sister. Spirit was always whispering wild ideas into her ear. Sadly, her family was plain, having forgotten their magic. So when she shared any of this with her family, it scared them, and they got mad, scolding her not to say such stupid things, telling her that her magical ideas were the stupidest things I've ever heard. Soon her magic slipped away, and she forgot all about it. Then she slipped away, becoming almost invisible and feeling stupid. As many of you know, Christmas is a magical time. This should have been the favorite time for a magical little girl, but her mother was taken over by the hustle and bustle of the holidays, almost like a curse. Her mother did everything, worked full time for the dad, did all the childcare, housework, cooking, shopping, and entertaining. She was definitely a woman running on empty. So when the holidays came, it was just a lot more work. This all made the mom very tired and cranky, unable to feel any joy or magic. Christmas Day was filled with too many people, too much noise, in a too small of house with a cranky mom. In fact, all of the moms that came were cranky from way too muchness. Having lost her magic and only feeling the stress and too muchness of Christmas, it wasn't long before the little girl grew to hate Christmas too. Fast forward a decade or two, maybe the curse was passed on to the little girl because as she grew up and started her own family, she would watch all the Christmas movies where everything was magical and perfect. Then she would try to create that for herself. She thought that if somehow she could just try harder, work harder, do more, she could make Christmas perfect and magic, just like the movies. With her commitment to too muchness, she found the perfect job, a FedEx courier. That's the worst job at Christmas. Her hate for Christmas grew stronger, as did her crankiness. Her fellow couriers dubbed her the poster child for a bad attitude. One day she happened upon a sorcerer named Jean Houston. In real life, she's a cultural anthropologist. This wise old woman offered her a ticket for a journey to meet her spirit guide. Another of the little girl's talents was curiosity, so of course she took the ticket. She checked the ticket to see when this travel adventure would take place. She saw that it said now. She argued with Jean that she was way too busy to go now and tried to negotiate the later time. Jean only laughed, and the girl was instructed to close her eyes and take a deep breath. Even though she was skeptical, she did as she was told. By the second or third breath, she was clearly seeing visions. Like all good visions, she started walking across a meadow, going into the woods. It wouldn't be much of a story without woods. And as she came out of the woods on the other side, she saw a figure in the distance coming toward her. Her excitement grew, knowing this was her spirit guide. And as it got closer, she wondered, what kind of a beautiful, magical creature would this be? Maybe a unicorn. Suddenly she saw it and gasped in horror. Was this some kind of a cruel joke? It was Santa Claus, the symbol of a holiday that she hated. She was so disappointed. Thankfully, she loved symbols and was still curious. So she began to explore the symbols of this message. First, she was shown Santa's clothes. Oh, she thought, this makes sense. Red, mostly red, trimmed in white, and accented in black. Red for bleeding woman, white for maiden, and black for crone. These archetypes were very important to her, and those colors kept coming up to her in her art making. In her studies, she had learned that for safety, many of the old pagan and goddess teachings had been hidden in fairy tales when patriarchy had taken over. This increased her curious exploration. Santa travels at night, she thought. Oh, the time of the sacred feminine. Then came time for her spell to be broken. When she asked about the sleigh, what does the sleigh mean? First, she saw Santa flying through the night, bringing gifts, and she heard, Santa is a shaman. Then she was shown herself in her FedEx truck, flying through the night, delivering presents. And she was told, you are the Santa shaman. And everything changed. The light bulb went on, her magic was reawakened, and she became the Santa shaman, bringing back the wild ideas and magic. Now she celebrated the quiet magic of the long, dark winter, free from the hustle-bustle curse, in search of perfect holidays like in the movies. And of course, all good stories end with, and she lived happily ever after. P.S. As a good shaman Santa, she was shown the perfect gift to bring you. Kickstart your cozy as a turning point for you to create a joy-filled holiday season and become your own Santa shaman. The end.